all new. AM 1150 WTMP.com.
Okay, it's that time again. Mama, them guys are on the radio again. You know, the ones that you talk about all the time.
Well, that, guys.
Well, that's us. We're here. We got some issues in the community, and everybody say what you're gonna talk about. What you're gonna talk about. I get asked that several times through the course of the day because I have a couple of meetings I go to before I get here, and the issue we could not talk about. It's the same issue. Not gonna spend the whole show on it, but what's happening at King High School. I saw, and I know it's the hot topic because every show's been talking about it. So I feel we're obligated to say something about it. I don't know, and I haven't even started the show yet, but before I start the show, I don't know how many of you people saw the movie Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, at the beginning of the movie, the whole concept idea of Poltergeist was there was a white developer. That's a white community. And there was a graveyard there. And the developer, who was responsible for literally placing all the bodies in the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what this guy did, he was smart. Well, he thought he was smart. Again, if you saw the movie Poltergeist. What he did was he moved all the gravestones and the markers, but he didn't move the bodies in the caskets. And therefore, the cemetery was only moved, and he had another place on the hill, and he had a fence, and he had all the markings of the cemetery being moved, and he didn't move any of the bodies. All the bodies stayed in the ground. Well, I saw, and again, this is my 2 cents, so I know as many as you guys have been hearing this all day, and if any official person want to call in and cuss me out and complain, I'm just kind of giving you guys some information about the concept. I saw a 94-year-old white woman who talked about there was a cemetery there, and she walked by it every day. So it's not a question of whether there was a cemetery there or not. It's whether or not the bodies are still in the ground. That's the issue. It's not whether or not there was a black cemetery there, a white cemetery there.
Yeah.
The issue becomes bodies in the ground. We know that black lives have no value. So, the concept of black bodies, dead black folks, have less value, evidently. I'm just saying, history is telling us that because, everybody keeps saying there will be more, and I truly believe there will be more. How do you solve a particular problem of how to meaningfully, respectfully handle these types of situations? Because again, someone said they're not going to remove the gym. But if there's bodies under the gym, I'm going to tell you like this. If it was a mammoth tusk, a dead prehistoric elephant, or some bones or something, they find a different way to handle it. I'm just saying.
Well, I think we're past the respectful part, Eddie. The fact that there's already been stuff built on top of it, and you deal with real estate. Once that stuff is built on top and everything's in place,
I'm just saying.
You ain't gonna give that up.
If it was a mammoth tusk.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying. And my conversation is about the value of black life and the value of the remnants of a black cemetery. So again, the point becomes, how do you respectfully handle the results? And like I said, in the case of Poltergeist, that movie, they didn't move the bodies, and but the whole concept, the whole premise of the movie was that the developer who built the homes over those people's bodies in the ground and built the highways and built the roadways and the parks and all that stuff that went in that development, with the bodies being in the ground, was they were at the beginning of the process supposedly to move the bodies. And again, the fact that they built homes and cars and driveways were parking on over these folks' bodies and stuff. There is something about after the damage is done, how do you, make it right? You can't make it right. But I am saying to this community, if you can remove those bodies and actually, disturbing the final resting place. Well, the resting
It's
place
done.
has been disturbed.
Yeah,
so
we're
so,
done
so
with
you
that.
can't
Next.
undo that part of the
That's
process.
right. Moving on.
But you can put these bodies and put the remnants of these bodies into a place where they get the proper burial, proper respect, and eternal rest, which means you can actually move them to a real cemetery or create a real cemetery and take the remains that's there, and if you believe in a final resting place, and put them in a place, because they exhume bodies all over this country, and they have different reasons for exhuming bodies, and they have moved cemeteries so that developers can develop their development, because it's about money.
Well, Eddie, and again, the money problem is not a problem because it's already been sold off and everything's been disturbed, like you just pointed out. So I think if it's just tearing out a parking lot and taking the bodies out of it underneath the parking lot and just putting the parking lot back, that sounds okay. But if you say there's a building already built there and it's been there for, let's say, I don't know, 2, 3, 10 years.
It's been there since the 60s, from what I've been
So
told.
if that's the case, not too many people are fired up. People with the real estate, well, yeah, I want to tear this building down so we can take the bodies and then what?
But see, that's because a lot of people don't understand. You don't have to take the building down to take the bodies from under it. People have moved buildings, literally moved buildings a lot bigger than that damn gym. I'm just saying. They picked them up, moved them other places, but you can also get the bodies from under the gym and any place else that you want. Again, it's just whether or not you want to spend the money to do it.
But if the city's not going to push it,
it ain't the city.
It.
It ain't the city, so we don't want to put issues out there. It's not the city. It's the school board. School board's a whole different entity, government entity with their own money, with their own resources, with their own everything. So again,
there's got to be federal money they can bring in somehow to help out.
No, again,
even state money.
This is a Hillsborough County school system problem right now. King High School. Now Zion may be something different, but King High School, that's the Hillsborough County school system's property. And again, they don't mingle with the city and the county and the state and all the other things, for other things.
So one of the most cash-strapped organizations.
No, they're not cash-strapped. Again,
listen to them. They're broke.
I'm just telling you, they just got a new taxes. They got new money, that's coming in. They got new sources. Again, at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about how you look at it. Because given everybody's the previous show, people looking for solutions to the particular problem as to what happened and how you deal with it in the future. Well, the issue still becomes you got bodies in the ground. That's the problem. Problem one, we got people in the ground that you've done stuff to desecrate their graves.
Yeah, we're past that.
And you're not showing them the proper respect. So the issue, long before anything else happened, it becomes with how do those living feel about what's happened to their loved ones, and then how do you make it such that maybe that they can live with the consequences of your current solution, not the past solution, current solution. And I'm of the belief that if you exhume those graves and put them in a real cemetery, or put them somewhere where they can get the proper respect and burial that they deserve, then that's the solution. So again, people say, well, we look for solution, Well, the solution has been for many a community in America. Developers have done this in the past. Not just remove the headstones, because in this particular case there is no headstone, but actually remove the bodies and then put them somewhere proper. So I guess we need to start the radio show.
Let's do this.
So
We got to thank somebody, I'm sure, for being here.
Again, I had to get it off my chest because that's what it's one of those kind of things that people. I know this community has been in a buzz about it, and folks have been talking about it all day. And I haven't heard anybody talk about that solution. The solution is remove them and put them in the right place. All right, we got a caller already, so I haven't given the number out, but we got a caller. Welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon, caller. Who are you and what say you? Hello? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and talk. We got you.
Yeah, about this cemetery, let me just say solutions to a problem that exists. First of all, let's make sure we identify everything up front. In order to do that, it's going to take resources called dollars to spend on archaeological and everything else.
Right.
So the first thing is, it needs to be money put up. Now, who should put the money up? The people that got the deed that said that they're supposed to take care of cemeteries because they the property owners are responsible for maintaining it, so they should put the money up. So they just put the money up to make sure we get a complete, thorough analysis on all the facts. Then after we get all the facts, then we can make the decision what to do. Now, I want to caution everybody. There are state statutes on dealing with cemeteries and removing bodies before you can move them. Now you can find all the next of kin, knock yourself out. So that's another issue. But until we get the complete analysis, good, Architect Eddie, let's make sure we get all the analysis, survey all the land, do everything we got to do that we can do to find out what the deal is. Then we make an intelligent decision. It's going to take some money to do all that. It's going to take some serious money to do all that. And then we make a resolution on what we're going to do with honoring this and that. But right now, the jury's still out about what's there, how much there, and all that. And it takes money to keep finding out what these impacts are. So I'm just saying, we know who got to pay for this. There's no question about that. Because they got the deed, and the deed says you are responsible for maintaining a cemetery. Now, that's clear.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. This is not like Zion.
Right.
There's no deed say you got to maintain that. There was a deed said that these people who have this property shall maintain it. And, of course, because of segregation, because of discrimination, and because of disrespect and the value of a black life, nothing happened. Land got developed. And this ain't the last time land been sold for more than what it's worth. We got a case right now going on with that at the county commission. The FBI looking into it. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate it. And Joe is right. And my solution is when everything is said and done, after all the evaluation, after all the analysis, after all this stuff is done, you're still going to have bodies in the ground. Again, this is Porch Talk Radio. And I guess we're gonna start the show.
Who's our sponsors, by the way, Eddie?
We're gonna start the show at some point. But again, once we officially start the show,
then we'll talk about something.
Then we'll talk about that. But I just want to make sure folks understand that the one thing that we do know, there are some bodies in the ground, and according to this little old lady who was on TV the other day, there's somewhere between 200 to 400 bodies in the ground. And again, this was pretty much a integrated cemetery, so they got black folks and white folks there, so it's not just black life that's being disrespected. And that there's some other stuff, and more stuff you'll find out as you go. But when it's all said and done, I'm making a suggestion to the folks who are on the committee, that you, and I know they got rules and regulations about exhuming bodies and all that kind of stuff, but all those rules and regulations got to do with bodies in a proper cemetery, not when you build, buildings and got folks walking on them and trespassing and disregarding, the bodies in the ground every day. Again, I'm just saying, I'm quite sure they find it easier to have them moved and properly placed in a proper burial, respected, province somewhere, as opposed to where they are now. So that being said, this is Porch Talk Radio. Had to get that off my chest, because I know that's been a burning issue, and part of what we do is, everybody in the community gives their 2 cents all day, on Saturday on TMP, and it's really about community issues. And I know a lot of people in the community feel different ways about the different issues. The issues don't change. It's just who's saying what,
Right.
and what's being done. And again, we're the elephants, and we're the conservatives, and even though this is not political,
And some of it's just common sense, Eddie.
It's a community issue. So
Just common sense, I think, on some of this stuff.
so we wanted to put that out there.
Do
So-
the right thing.
So for those who want to call in the show, this is Porch Talk Radio. So those who want to call in during the show, when we actually talk about issues and stuff, the call-in number during the show is 813-251-9867. 813-251-9867. Those who want to call me, off the show, while the show is not happening, they call me on my cell phone, 813-230-3312. 813-230-3312. If you want to text me on my cell phone. You want to, send a message to the website, porchtalkradio.com. Email Eddie, EDDIE, at porchtalkradio.com. We got a lot of issues going on in our community. As black folks, we got a judicial system that pretty much, and I'm saying this, and I know a lot of folks gonna agree, some gonna disagree, but the average black guy, an average black girl on the street you got a system that you really don't believe in. You don't believe we get fair justice in America, Hillsborough County, and Tampa, because a lot of those folks who does the judging, who do the judging, aren't. Let me say it like this: they don't look like us, and not only do they not look like us, they don't know us. It is them and us, and they are the ones who literally sit on a dais, or sit on a platform, or sit on the bench, and look down, and pretty much rule a judge, the folks in the audience, which is mostly us, and when we meet these people under the most horrendous situations and circumstances sometimes. I am going to propose to you as a community, we need to get involved with selecting judges.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
That is so important, and I'm saying this from a standpoint where I was running for U.S. Congress a number of years ago, and I got to meet a lot of senators and congressmen and state senators and state reps and all these folks and county commissioners and city council, all these elected officials, and at the end of the day, the ones, let me say that, ones with an S, that pretty much touch more of us every day than any other particular group or set of folks is these judges. Because a lot of black folks in the judicial system, juveniles, adults, and every day, usually when you walk in that courtroom, there's not a lot of friendly faces there. And if you meet, as I did this morning, I met a judge candidate this morning, and I have...
You meet Alvarez?
Nope.
No.
I have learned to meet, talk, and know these candidates separately and above as a candidate, so that when they become real judges, not just judge candidates, not that I've hopefully looked to meet them in the courtroom, because a lot of them is doing criminal law and
You don't be
criminal
on the wrong
cases
side of the popo.
and criminal cases. But there's a different scenario when the system, which is supposed to, in most of them saying, well, we're trying to do fair and try to be fair and impartial. Well, that's almost impossible. The system is not fair and it's not impartial. The system picks sides every day. And I know a lot of judges, that's a goal for them to be impartial and for them to be fair. And they would tell you, because I don't mind asking them, the system sees black folks differently than white, and it does. I don't care what they say. I mean, you and your interaction with your family and the system is most of the time negative. You are defending, or you find yourself pent up against the system, and usually you're the little guy. You don't have a bunch of money. Your family ain't got a bunch of money. You are pretty much stuck to having public defenders, and if you got enough money to pay a lawyer, you got a cheap lawyer. I'm just saying, it's the nature of the system. It's set up that way. So as a regular Joe Smo, being involved, and how do you change this system? Next year, 2020, we're gonna elect a president, new president, old president. It don't matter which one. You're gonna elect a bunch of state senators and national senators and state reps and national reps and a whole bunch of other people. And sometime, way back, just before you get to all these amendments,
that nobody knows,
you get to vote for judges. And in the history of this system, most regular folks don't have a clue who the judges were. And a lot of times, unless it's noted on the ballot, you don't even know whether the existing current judge is running on the ballot up for re-election.
correct.
What you don't know. And what I am saying is, take a couple of minutes, hours, days. It varies from person to person how long it's gonna take to do this. But get to know these people and actually do an educated guess for voting for judges this election cycle. It's important. Most of the time, we either don't vote,
Right.
which means we leave it blank, or we do the eeny, meeny, miny, mo,
Not good.
or we vote because we saw a yard sign or something. It varies from person to person why we vote, but it's not from doing our own research and having a basic knowledge of who these people are.
But Eddie, you're saying about people changing their old habits. You're talking about getting off the couch and taking time to go meet these people that are running for office. You're talking about actually reading their material and see if that's something that makes sense. Most of us, and I can testify, we're usually on the go, short on time. So we got to go vote. It's our duty. I guess I'll go vote. I better get over there after work or before work, however you can do that. And then the fact that we haven't had time to prep to go meet and all that. We walk in that booth and we're voting for what we think. Oh, this amendment, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, this guy, this judge, that judge. Well, I guess. And my mindset in the past has been, well, I haven't heard of any one of these names doing anything spectacular in our community. So I just go to replace them all. Now, and that's not always a good way, because again, some of them might be doing a really good job.
You might want to replace them all, but you only get to vote for one. Or sometimes they tell you to vote for two.
Right.
But that's it.
And my mindset, and like you said, not everybody's the same on this. Well, I haven't heard anything great about this one that I can think of in the community, so let's get another one in there. And again, he might have been doing a great job. And as you said, this morning or this week, you've had a chance to meet someone running for a judgeship. I've met Mr. Alvarez, who's running for one of the spots as well. And you get if you take the time, folks, to go listen to their spiel, what they got to say, and take the time to see, this sounds good, this looks good, okay. And of course, Eddie talks a bit deeper, because he says go look it up, go research it. Don't just read their website. You know who wrote that, right? They did. Go look around, talk to people, ask around, do your research. You might find out that might be the biggest SOB that just happens to have money. And you say, I don't want that.
Well, sometimes is what they say. I mean, all these judges, most of these judges, let me say it like this, the ones that's actually campaigning, will be in the public eye. And they send out the voter registration process allows the supervisor of election to send you a sample ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to the supervisor of election website, when a person is running and they qualify, or even if they don't qualify, if they call themselves campaigning for a judgeship in Hillsborough County, every candidate that's running for a slot in Hillsborough County, you can go to the supervisor of election website and get their information, get their basic information.
That's a start, folks.
And again, it takes an effort. You know, democracy and freedom isn't free. You got to work for it. You got to fight for it in order to not be taken for granted. I'm gonna tell you something. If you live in certain parts of Tampa, West Tampa, East Tampa, I'm just throwing it out there, as opposed to South Tampa, candidates who are running for countywide races
They go in South Tampa.
and citywide races,
They're spending money down there.
they're going to spend more time and more energy in South Tampa because in order for them to win those particular races, and I mean races like races, in order for them to win those particular races, they know the majority of the people in South Tampa are going to show up at election day and vote. What they do is they want them to vote for them. The majority of the people in East Tampa, the majority of the people in West Tampa don't, at this point in time, have the same political clout as folks in South Tampa.
Now, and with that, Eddie, I think we've had this conversation before, is the fact that people in South Tampa go out there and they actually go to some of these gatherings, some of these politicians, and they go listen to them and they make a decision. They are just actively involved. So we can say, well, it's because they're white or whatever, but they're just more actively involved. And I've run across some people, black and Hispanic, that are very involved. So it just, folks, it's just a mindset that has to be broken. And if you're going to go and research somewhere, ask your neighbor, hey, did you know this information? I got this information for this election coming up, and I found out where all these judges. Folks, sometimes you just have to share the information, not necessarily your views or opinions. That's your choice. But tell people where to go find, and tell the neighbor. They might not know. They might be used to doing like I've done in the past, walk in there, and time to elect somebody, go, oh, gee, let's get a new one in there. And that might be the best one to keep. So I think sharing the information is big, and Eddie's trying to tell you guys, there's a website you can go and find the information as well. But South Tampa people, I know them. I know plenty down there. They're out there involved. They're doing stuff, Eddie. They're actually going to these events that everybody else says, well, and that's how they're knowing how to do it. That's the biggest voting block for Hillsborough County right now.
Well, let's think about this too. If the judge candidates are not having events in your community, and I'm going to say this because it's true, a lot of these events are fundraisers.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to South Tampa and have all these events, and the people get to meet them because they're raising money. Again, we're not known as big. Let me say it like this. We're not known as the place where candidates go to raise money. But the important part of the process is the people with the most money don't always win.
That's true.
The people with the most votes most of the time wins. I'm just saying, that's the way the system is supposed to work. If you get the most votes, you're supposed to win. And how do you get the most votes varies sometimes from candidate to candidate. But this whole process of being a candidate and going through a campaign and all that kind of stuff has a lot to do with your potential as a community to show up on election day and vote somebody in or vote somebody out. So that's what we got to do. And what I'm saying, the judge candidates are pretty much have been ignored by our community. And there's some people within the community who are doing stuff that are getting judge candidates to show up at, tea and conversation. I have met a lot of judge candidates for this next cycle at tea and conversation. And of course, most of the people that I have met have all been white.
Mm-hmm.
For white judge candidates to show up at tea and conversation, which is pretty much considered to be a black event, even though there's a lot of white folks there, the initiative, the initiative, you know, for white folks who are judge candidates to meet black folks is something that's not is not at the level that it needs to be. All these judge candidates should be in the hood, in the community, trying to get votes. But for some reason or other, a lot of them don't think that's a good place for them to show up to get votes because they may feel misunderstood. They may not give a crap.
I might say they're broke. They ain't got no money.
They may have enough money. They may not have the right mindset. They may be, you know, ex-Klan candidates, Ku Klux Klan members. I mean, the good thing about, you know, the way the system works is, you know, once you put a hood on your head, I mean, ask somebody who's been in the system. You can't tell these people that have been being prosecuted where the white guy gets 5 days, you know, a pat on the hand, and the black guy gets 20 years, you know, to life for the exact same crime. I'm just saying, someone told me today that the circumstances may be different, but at the end of the day, the crime is the crime, and the way the crimes are booked, you know, they put you down for X number of counts of this and 5 counts of that and 6 counts of that, and at the end of the day, when you get judged and you get sentenced accordingly. Well, those sentences and the system is set up such that judge per judge gets to throw the book at the black guy, or like they did the Hollywood stars, you know, get them probation and a fine, because the money, you know, they got plenty of money, so the fine, you know, so it's not the same as opposed to a person who is of color, black or Hispanic, don't have the money, don't have the prestige, you know, and don't get the same justice from the same system. That's my problem with the system. So as a community, I'm giving you a solution. The solution is to get to know these judges and get some of these judges to know you.
And that takes getting involved, getting off the couch, getting out to these events. Eddie, you said they can go. How can they find out what's going on with these judges?
We got a caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Who are you and where you calling from?
Yes, my name is Mandan. I'm calling from Tampa. And I'd just like to just a brief comment on the subject you're talking about. The inequities of the sentencing and so forth and so on. I think it would be great if they could let a computer software determine what the sentence would be. Make an algorithm, and you plug in all the variables, the age of the defendant. You can omit the race, and just plug in the vital things that the algorithm would need in order to come to an equitable conclusion for everyone. And then you would take the human bias out of the picture. As long as you got a human being in there, a judge or whomever that's going to make the final decision, but you're going to always have bias because human beings are just naturally biased, period. I mean, you're not going to change their wiring. I mean, it's just bias. Everybody's biased, blacks, whites, greens, purples. Everybody has some level of bias. And basically, if you just develop algorithms for the judicial judgment system, and you just let the humans plug in all the variables, and then let the algorithm spit out a sentence or whatever, and I'm sure it will come out sort of equal, because the algorithm is blindless. It doesn't look at bias as anything.
All right,
yeah,
thank
that's
you.
all I would say.
All right, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for your comment.
Did you get our sponsors in today, Eddie?
All right, let me say this as an answer to what the caller is saying. There are computer programmers and computer systems that they have done trial experiments and stuff like that. And even some places they have actually set that system up. But what happens is there's human input.
Sure.
Which means, as opposed to a person with the black robe and the power sitting in front of you making the decisions and having that fiefdom, which is what I called it this morning, having a kingdom. Each one of those courtrooms is a kingdom
Yes,
with
it
a
is.
hierarchy.
Absolutely.
And the king or queen is the judge.
Mm-hmm.
And from there they got law enforcement, and they got people who come in and help the defendants and help the victims and help everybody, and then they got the audience. So there's a whole system set up in every courtroom in this nation. The power of that system is the fact that those people make the rules and the regulations. Not so much there, but the legislature make the rules and regulations. But those guys are the enforcers. They the ones that say you get 5 years, or you get 10 years, or you get 10 minutes, or you get slapped on the hand, or we give you some money. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, a lot of it is punitive, and some of it is financial. Some of it is civil. Where you know, it ain't so much you did me right or I did you wrong or something like that. It's about you owe me some money. That whole system, that whole process, don't lend itself so much to a computer program, because again, if I want results different than what the system is currently giving me, I can pretty much program them into the system, and it will give me not only what we got now, it actually give me a worse scenario with and race ain't got so much to do with it, because again, once you put it in the computer will blindly tell you right or wrong or indifferent. But again, the programmer got a race, and the programmer got some preconceived notions, and once they go into the algorithm of the system, you cannot program a system to give you a non-biased result if the person that programs the system is biased. Sure. I'm just saying.
That's catch-22. You're right about that. Because again,
trash in, trash out.
Yeah, whoever fixes the program themselves is going to set their own personality into it. In fact, now that you say that, Twitter today made an announcement, or yesterday, that effective the 22nd, I believe, of November, they're going to begin to institute even more that freedom of speech, if it's a politician now, or if it's against politician, that they now have the right, or have given themselves the right, Twitter has, to just take it down. So even if it's factual, and they don't like it, which they've been doing anyway, that's nothing new. But now they're going to the next level, saying, if it's against any politician, and it doesn't fit their standard, which is whoever is deciding that day, well, if it's anti-Obama this day, then we can't do that, so we got to take it down. Or if it's anti-Trump, we have to take it down. So the catch-22 is, again, whoever is programming, whoever is sitting there writing that algorithm, if today is Kill Trump Day, then all that garbage going up. If tomorrow is make snide remarks about Obama and Michelle, okay, fine, then this is the day to tear them up. There's no balance here. So you're right, Eddie. Whoever sets that algorithm up can be just as guilty as just saying, forget it, I'll just do it myself and judge. Either way, somebody's judging or something is judging. Yeah. I like what the guy is saying in that it should be a common sense approach. It should be. But as Twitter and even Facebook now, if you put something against one of the presidents, they'll take it down and say, it doesn't fit our standard, community standard, and then make that up day to day.
Well, see, the other thing you got to take into consideration, too, it gives the establishment an out. Well, we didn't do it. The computer did it.
The algorithm. In fact, they said that in the beginning, Eddie. Facebook was doing that originally.
You say, well, there's no human involved in the system. We took the humans out. You can't take the humans out of a system where humans program the system.
Google has been notorious for that.
The system can give you what results you want. That's the nature of a computer. If I put trash in, I'm going to get trash out. If I put good stuff in.
If you Google certain political names, they will not show up at just all the negative stuff.
We got a caller. So welcome to Porch Talk Radio this Saturday afternoon. Caller, who are you? Where are you calling from? And what say you?
Hey, yeah, I just spoke with you about the making that algorithm. Actually, the input to the algorithm would be like binary things, like how old is the person?
But it still got to make
It doesn't
decisions
matter
based
who the
upon the
program is.
information.
The person is 20 years old. Everybody's 20.
He said it. He can't change.
Things of that nature, like binary type answers.
But the nature,
And
the problem is more difficult than yeses and nos. In order to make a system that's going to take the place of a judge, it's got to make some objective,
Right.
subjective decisions, and those are not yeses and nos. That's the nature
I mean,
of the program.
and I can say I've done program before a little bit and say, okay, so if this person had a history of being in jail, or they've served X amount of time, well, that goes into the equation right there. Well, this person had so many felonies. This person had so many misdemeanors. Well, that goes into the equation one way or the other, and the results can be the same.
Well, you can have complicated code, but again, we got people who spend their whole life hacking and cracking code. So, so that's what I'm trying to say. It's not as simple as you're trying to make it. I'm just trying to make sure
logical.
folks understand. If everybody was honest, you could do it. But the nature of man is that
And Twitter and
we're not
Facebook
that,
and Google have proven
right.
that not effective.
It'd be a lot of innocent people in jail, and
Big time.
it'd be a lot of guilty folks set free if you leave it up to a machine. It's no different than what's happening now, except we got people in the mix, and the people just change from being the people making the decision to people,
The people programming the decisions.
Right.
Ouch.
So just changing that. part.
Catch-22. You
Yeah.
got it.
And the judge candidate that I was talking with this morning was Helene Daniels, and she's in a tough race, and she sounds like a very good person, and part of the whole process of meeting judges is you can tell
Yeah.
what kind of person they are just by having an open conversation. First of all, you got to have an open
This
conversation.
sounds old school already, Eddie.
Because you can't just look at them. You got to actually talk to them and ask them some questions. I mean, watch them how they think. Watch their mind work. Watch how they answer. That's part of the analysis.
How they respond. That's right.
That's how you get to tell. It ain't what they say. I'm telling you.
It's how they say it sometimes,
Yeah,
They
It's
got an attitude right there. You're like, well,
it's a read you get on a person.
that's right.
When you try to figure out who they are. Now, if you never met them, and the only time you see their name is on the ballot, you really not making
Clueless.
a judgment about
Yeah.
that person. You're voting, and you're ignorantly voting for or against somebody without any knowledge of
Ignorance
it.
begets ignorance.
And we do that too often
Unfortunately,
as a
true.
community for judge candidates. That's my whole statement. That's the statement I'm making. So what I'm gonna do now is do on this day,
All right.
and then after that we can talk about something else. So
Move on.
on this day, November the 2nd, 1889, North Dakota and South Dakota were admitted to the Union as the 39th and 40th states.
North Dakota, South Dakota.
Yeah.
That's what, 3 people? 4 people?
Yeah, between the two. On this date, November the 2nd, 1920, the first commercial radio station in the U.S., KDKA of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, began regular broadcasting. So that's the first commercial radio station.
Back in the day.
Yeah, that's in 1920. On this date, November the 2nd, 1921, Margaret Singer, National Birth Control League, combined with Mary Ware Dinetz, published as a voluntary parenthood league, was formed.
Man.
And they formed the American Birth Control League.
That woman was evil.
Yes.
Oh my God, she was so evil.
And it all started on this day in 1921.
Hope she's burning in her grave.
On this day, November the 2nd, 1948, Harry S. Truman defeated Thomas E. Dewey for the U.S. presidency. The Chicago Tribune published an early edition that had the headline, Dewey defeats Truman.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Truman victory surprised
It's almost as good as
many
Hillary
polls
defeats Trump.
and many newspapers. That's the same reason that I brought it. Everybody pretty much had they published their papers that night of the election. You know, Clinton beats Trump. You know, in a landslide. I mean,
1,000% I heard.
It was a 90-something%.
Oh, yeah.
You know, victory
Oh, yeah.
for Clinton. You know, a lot of folks were
Absolutely.
predicting. You know, Trump had no chance. I'm just telling you. You know, history repeats itself. And then, as we all know, and living up to the standards that we've already established, and what's happening every day in Washington D.C. Should it go to an election, I am 200% sure that the Democrats are scared to death. If they don't do something,
They're going to lose, I think, dramatically, Eddie. Right now, from the way it's looking, how the American public
Right.
is not interested.
take it out of the hands of the American people.
They're basically telling the American people, you're too stupid
Right.
to know that we're just pulling a scam, and everything that's brought us to this point, the Republicans have already proven to be just false.
Yeah.
Factual.
And probably historically, for as black folks are concerned, on November the 2nd, 1983, U.S. President Ronald Reagan
That's a Republican.
signed a bill establishing a federal holiday on the third Monday in January in honor of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's one good Republican helping another good Republican.
Just for folks to understand, Ronald Reagan
He's a white guy.
signed
Was.
the bill establishing federal holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That was on this date in 1983.
That's amazing. Still the party of setting the captives free.
Porch Talk Radio. Again, that's one of the things that I do is we bring some of this stuff in and we do it every week because a lot of this stuff, folks forget about. We have short memories.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of complaints and a lot of folks out of ignorance, they just don't know. Because when they start talking about Republicans and Democrats, that gets blurred so quickly and dominated, like the Democrats have done everything for black folks and of actual factual information. They've not done much for us as a people. I'm just saying, even though they may claim a lot,
Well, no,
actually
come on, Eddie.
doing
Eddie,
stuff.
you're going down the wrong path here. They've helped put an abortion clinic in every black neighborhood in America. And right now we have just as many black babies killed as are being born. So that's a great accomplishment for the Democrats.
Well, they don't claim that as a party
that, huh?
issue.
Yeah.
As a party issue.
They were all fighting to get $500 million of our tax dollars over to Planned Parenthood so they keep the clinics open in all the minority neighborhoods.
Yeah.
What a bargain.
Well, I must say now, if somebody chooses to look, and I think it was part of the national plan when they rolled them out, Margaret Singal had intentions
Evil.
of black genocide. It was a plan to get rid
And
of.
Hillary received one of the honorary awards for all she had done for that cause from the Sanger organization, Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, but
Wow.
we got some folks, some black folks who have unknowingly idolized the person whose intent was to eliminate the black population. I'm just saying, genocide is one of those touchy issues.
Oh yeah, because it's
that
factual
folks,
and people don't want to accept it. I mean, Joe
Yeah.
Biden just got kicked out. Was it last week, Eddie, or 2 weeks ago? Joe Biden was trying to go to church, Catholic church, because he says he's Catholic, and the priest said, "No, you can't do communion because you're for abortion." That blew me away. A church finally stood up for something.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And something else I gotta say too, Hillsborough County has and they are in the process of getting their own urban league back.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
So there was a meeting a couple weeks ago, at the airport. They got a website, so go to their webpage, get some information on
What
them.
webpage?
The Hillsborough County Urban League.
Oh, they got a webpage. Okay.
They got a webpage, so go look up the information. The NAACP is for the black people,
Mhm.
People of color. Let me say it like
Okay.
that. NAACP, but the Urban League is for black businesses.
Ah.
So that's a differentiation.
That's what I was going to ask. What are they going to do?
Between the two?
Just try and bring them together, or communicate with one another?
Look up look up the Urban League, and most big cities in America have an Urban League, and it's not called the Black Urban League; it's called the Urban League, and so go look up Urban League. Historically, they have been a part of most of the successful black communities in America, and because their primary focus, their purpose, is to kind of look out and establish a strong base for black businesses.
Well, it's good that our community is moving along, Eddie, to bring that back up again. I know we've talked about the Black Credit Union and the Black Airline coming into Tampa. A lot of things seem to be moving in a good direction, and you guys are talking about real estate recently. Some lots are still left somewhere to go and invest in.
Well, the city had a issue. I guess it's 20-something lots became available, and there's some 501c3s and some community organizations that put in bids. And I heard that's coming full circle. So at some point in time over the next couple of weeks, they will have committee meetings about moving that whole process forward. Don't know exactly what the plans are, but there is something. So it's happening. The fact that they had the committee and had meetings and got the bids, and I guess they're doing the analysis on that now. So again, at some point in time in the next several weeks, that will take another step forward. So that's the city.
It's a process.
City making stuff happen within the city and within the black community. So again, these were vacant lots that I guess the city said we're gonna make them available for community interests to better the community. So again, that's kind of me, trying to not bite my tongue and not, say stuff, but the effort is great. That's the city, Jane Castor, and her government, making the effort to cover some campaign promises. Because I know some stuff in East Tampa, everybody say East Tampa was this and East Tampa was that. Well, now the city kind of making sure that something happens in East Tampa, because nothing has happened in East Tampa for such a long time. Well, not publicly anyway. So this is the effort that's being made.
We take what we can get over there, Eddie. Come on now.
By the city making an effort to make some stuff happening, some positive stuff happen in East Tampa.
Well, that's good. Now, also, guys, don't forget we still have a big football game coming to town, or Miami.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's it. That Super Bowl thing. So if you guys still have any business ideas cooking in your head, something you can make some money and help yourself, help your family, help the community along, well, come on. Let's put some ideas together. We've got people we can communicate with if you need some help, some resources maybe. But if you've got the gumption, the idea of making something happen, and again, the Miami Super Bowl is a good trial run for you down there. Go run your stuff down there and see if you can make it go. And if you got a good idea and it works down there, you can bring it back to Tampa. And Tampa's going to have the Super Bowl happening in 21, is that right?
2021,
Yeah,
yes.
2021. So there's going to be billions of dollars dumped into this economy, and why can't you get a piece?
Yeah, well, again, part of this whole process is, and we have not forgotten, and we know, I said at the end of October that we was going to be rolling out the Black Business Index, and that index is still, we're working on it, and at the end of the day, the intention is to make it free, have all the black businesses within the county, within the area listed, make it a resource for everybody, and again, as we take the next step, because now we've got the list and we got the resources, and we got a bunch of businesses, you know, now how we put it online. And anybody know if you're dealing with stuff, trying to get it online, there's a cost, there's an expense, even though the listing and stuff, you know, we try to make it free, but it can't be free because there's expense involved. So the more often that we have the opportunity to serve the community, the more often we will. But again, I am going to have to put out there somewhere within the next week or so, you know, try to figure out how we pay for this. We're gonna have to ask for some donations from the community at large to help us do what it is we're trying to do with this free. And again, it's free to the businesses, and I think it's a community resource, but we got to use it, you know, as a community resource, which means, you know, the community at large will have to help us pay for it. I'm just saying. And I know we got people with names, we got lists of names, the input and all that kind of stuff. I think the important part was for us to get the names. Now, the important part is for us to get them online, to get the index actually established, make it functional, and as Tim says, we need to do it right the first time, because hopefully, if we do it right the first time, you know, in 5-10 years, you know, to still be around, serving the function and serving the purpose, and it only grows. If you're a black business person, which means that your business is 51% owned by someone that's black, male or female, then you're a black business, and then we'll get you in this index, and folks can have access to you and your information, and again, you know, become a resource. We're not trying to hurt anybody's business. We're just trying to make it available so that more information, as opposed to less information, will be out there about businesses within this community. So that's how this community becomes profitable. That's how we do the Black Wall Street adventure and just make it local, bring it here to Tampa. And again, guys, girls, you know, this is not rocket science. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to do something, you know, that's going to help everybody do what it is they're trying to do. We ain't competing with nobody. If you got a black pages, or you got some kind of, you know, thing that you're currently doing, this won't affect you. I mean, we can have somebody sit down and take the name and address and the phone numbers out of the Florida Sentinel, you know, the want ad, to classify it, you know, any resource, and make them available to anybody, because everybody don't get the Florida Sentinel. Everybody don't get the black media that's out there now. But if you got a place online and we train the community to go, if you're looking for a black business, this is where you find it, then as you can see, the possibility is unlimited. So we're running out of time. So until
we
next
still got
week,
plenty to cover, but we're good.
Until next week at the same bat time, same bat station, Tampa Bay. Remember, you know, us folks here at Porch Talk Radio, we love you. Bye bye.
God bless America.
See ya.